Guys, it's Matt from Total Drummer. So we're going to look at a badass paradiddle-diddle drum fill. Go and grab the PDF sheet music from the link in the video description. Go and get that and we'll work on this. It's a really simple concept. You need to know your paradiddle-diddle. So this is just another case of rudiments being used, applied to the drum kit to create something cool. So all those hours you put into practicing rudiments when your mates were doing something fun, now it pays off, okay? So the first line that you'll see here is just the standard paradiddle-diddle, all on the snare drum, and we're accenting that very first note. So that's where you'd expect to accent it. So see, it's right, left, right, right, left, left, first note being the accent. So the first line sounds like this. Okay, nice and easy. So then we're simply going to orchestrate that around the kit a little bit. So if we split it into two parts, so it's essentially two paradiddle-diddles. First one, the first note is played on the high tom, and the rest is on the snare. So we're just going to move that accent up to high tom, the rest on the snare. All right. The second one, you can see it stays on the snare until the left left at the very end, and that goes onto the high tom. So we're going to accent that first snare, right left, right right, left left on the high tom. Okay. So now if we put those two together, we get this. And then the final one, it's just the right hand accent on the floor tom. So this is if you were going to go into a third paradiddle-diddle, that would be your first note. But we're just going to do that first right hand. So it'll be down on the floor tom, right hand. So let me put it all together. So what I played a minute ago, and then finishing with a right hand on the floor tom. All right, so there, obviously, I already know this, so I'm able to reach faster speed straight away, but you want to go slowly through the process, build it up, keep it nice and smooth, keep the notes even, try and retain those dynamics. So it's the dynamics are on the first note of each one, so they'll be on the quarter note. All right. So then we're ready to put it into a sequence. So the way I want to display this, or the way I want to use this today, is to start it on beat 3. Now it's got two whole paradiddle-diddles, then it's got that extra floor tom at the end. So if we start it on beat 3, it's going to last for all of beat 3, all of beat 4, and it's going to finish on bar 1 of the next bar. So this creates something kind of interesting and different, because our fill is now going over the bar line. Right, so whereas we'd normally be coming back to our beat on beat 1 of the next bar with a crash and bass, returning to the groove. Here we're not, we're still doing the fill. So we'll tackle that in a second, but let me play it to you first. So looking at that third line, you've got half a bar of the rhythm, then we're going to start the fill on beat 3, it's going to last for 3, 4, and end on beat 1 of the next bar. Okay, 3, 4. Beat 4. Beat 4. Awesome. So to then bring it back to the beat, we've got this final line here, the fourth line down here. So you're going to be hitting the floor tom. You can see it on here. You're going to be hitting the floor tom on beat 1 of that next bar after the fill. And then the next thing we're going to do is beat 2, and that's going to be your regular snare. That's where you'd put your backbeat normally. And what we can do is add a crash with that, just to, like you do a crash at the end of a fill normally on beat 1. So now we're going to add the crash on beat 2 with the snare. Okay, this is a really common thing. It's used a lot, but it's not as common as hitting the crash on beat 1, so it still sounds interesting. I mean, the example I can think of right now in my head is In the Air Tonight, Phil Collins. Obviously, you've got that massive fill at the beginning. Da-dun, 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 ba-ba. But then as he starts grooving, he does this kind of thing a lot. So I can't quite think how the beat goes, all the fills, but it's this sort of thing. So we're going... That wasn't exact. I don't know what he played exactly, but that was the kind of thing. So you probably saw as I went around the fill, it kind of went into the next bar and kind of ended on beat 2 with the snare. So we're gonna use that technique here. Right, so we can see it right at the bottom there. So it's what we just played in the 3rd line down, half a bar of the beat, then the fill. So then we're gonna end the fill on beat 1 with that floor tom. Then the next thing you see is just coming back to the snare with a crash cymbal to carry on our beat. So let's just pretend we've done the fill. We're gonna pretend. And I'm going to go from the last bar, and it's going to go 1 on the floor tom and then 2 with the snare and crash. So after 3, 4, so I go 3, 4. 3, 4, 1. One more. 3, 4. Right, so that's that bar. That's like after the fill, coming back to the beat. And now I'm going to play the entire 2-bar section on that last line. So it's half a bar of the beat, then the fill, then coming back on beat 2 with the crash and cymbal like I just showed you. Okay, I'll go slow. Yeah! So it's a paradiddle-diddle being used in quite a cool way, and it's the placement of it makes the fill go over the bar line. So we come back on beat 2 and just create something a little bit interesting, a little bit cool. And your band, because you're the boss of the band as the drummer, remember that, don't let them tell you otherwise. So your band could also leave a gap there. So then on beat 2, when you hit that crash and snare, they hit the big chord as well. Okay, so everyone leaves this kind of gap on beat 1, and then bang, beat 2, you're all kicking back in. Okay, that's it. Work it up nice and slow. Have fun with it. See how else you can use the double paradiddle, or the paradiddle-diddle, sorry, in this case. Orchestrate it differently around the toms and the snare. Get creative, be awesome. See you next time.